I've never been a huge celebrator of Thanksgiving. Because, to be honest, I've always felt enormous sympathy for the Native Americans. So I was a little bit, even when I was a teenager, I was a little bit like, wow, why are we eating all this food when these people were almost exterminated? However, having said that, I also think it's incredibly powerful to have one day of the year that is about gratitude, because for some people, it gets them in that groove where you can begin to go, whoa, wait a minute. Am I not remembering gratitude in the rest of my days too? Because, to me, thinking about gratitude 365 days a year would completely change someone's life. And I'm not saying using gratitude as a tool to ignore bad things or using it as a way to spiritually bypass or to cover up negative feelings. I don't mean any of that. I simply mean there's a paradox. Terrible things happen in this world. That's just what this world is. At the same time, the focus on certain vibrations like gratitude impact not only your own trajectory, but everyone around you. And so it's incredibly powerful to focus on gratitude. And especially if you've been in a place where, as so many people feel, just so beleaguered and exhausted and overwhelmed by challenge after challenge. I was talking about this yesterday on that call. And yet, if in the middle of that, you're able to hold some part of the mind in gratitude, everything changes. It's, a lot of what we deal with here is the idea of paradox, that two emotions can coexist and actually both be true. And so I was finding that a lot this year. I was going through enormous challenges, and at the same time, I guess because I've worked with gratitude for so many years, I kept being in these insane situations, and yet some part of me would be thinking about all the ways that it could be worse and all the things that I was grateful for while I was in some complete mess. And so I think that that's an incredibly powerful way to hold the energy, not to use it to deny difficulty, but to simultaneously find the places of gratitude, because your vibration absolutely will be affected. It just will be. It is the part of the law of attraction that's true. I don't throw the law of attraction out. I just say there's a small part of it that's absolutely true. How you hold your mind affects what happens. Then there's all these other factors like the laws of prarabdha karma and the laws of receiving and the laws of giving. I mean, there's a million other things that are also impact things. But the idea that how you hold the mind affects what happens to you is just true. So I thought that a great thing that we could do together with that energy coming tomorrow, at least for the people in the States, but this is good for everyone, is we'll do a meditation on getting the mind into a state of gratitude. And one way I like to do it, just on a practical level, is to let 5 things bubble up that you're grateful for. So we'll do that together. And sometimes what you end up finding is some of the things that are absolutely the hardest are what you also end up later being grateful for. So it all gets, interesting. So, and something else I heard this morning, somebody put it on the forum page, is that I just like this idea so much that you can take a jar, at the start of the year, or for me, really, you could start it today. You could start it any time. And every time something beneficial or surprising or magical occurs, you write it down, you put it in the jar. So that by the end of the year, the jar is filled with all these papers. And the thing that I really like about that is the nature of the mind is habitual. So if you hit a patch in the year where you're just like, everything's dark, everything's, depressing, everything's this, everything's that, which is the standard narrative of the culture that we live in. I mean, to me, that's what's important, is we're not living in neutrality. We're simply not living in a culture that's based on holding gratitude at all, except for rare pockets. So to me, you hit a dark patch, you're surrounded by negative, angry people, hopeless people, you go get the jar out and you read a few, and you get the mind realigned with what is needed. Again, not as a way to spiritually bypass, not as a way to not have important feelings of anger or hopelessness. These are all feelings to let come through the body. But to keep the mind in a place where it remembers. It remembers the miraculous. It remembers the positive. So let's do this together and then we'll go on here. Focusing on your breath. Breathing in, calming, quieting energy. And breathing out, whatever wants to go. Breathing in, calming, quieting energy, and breathing out, whatever wants to go. And maybe you can bring into the mind that divine warrior that we accessed on yesterday's call. That you're feeling that courageous, powerful, resplendent part of your own being. That part that is anchored in clarity. And that inner divine warrior, as you feel it again, you're welcoming it back in after yesterday, will show you one thing in your life to be wildly grateful for. Just notice what comes up. Could be a person, could be anything. Could be the fact that just for today, you have a roof over your head. Whatever comes up. And really feel it. Not mechanically, but feel it. Like, holy freaking God, thank God this is so. Thank God this is so in my life, no matter how many difficulties or challenges. Thank God this first thing is so. Let that gratitude expand through your body. And then that inner divine warrior will show you a second thing. Just whatever emerges on its own, whatever comes up. Once again, oh my God, thank God. Thank God for that. Thank heavens. Thank love, whatever you want to call it. thank fate that even in the midst of so much difficulty, this is occurring. You are insanely blessed by that second thing occurring. You might even feel like one of the luckiest people that this second thing is occurring. Now we'll go to number 3. That warrior will show you. So much gratitude just for that third thing, whatever it is. So much gratitude. It may have been being so hard you can barely think, and yet in the middle of it, here's this third thing. And you feel so lucky. Now we'll go to the fourth thing. It will bubble up on its own. And whatever it is something that you feel so blessed about. So lucky. Even if you've always seen yourself as unlucky, yet here this thing is. And when it's not taken for granted, it is a freaking miracle. And finally, we'll go to the last one. The Divine Warrior will just show you the last thing for right now. You're so grateful for. Could just be that you have food. Could just be that you have fingers. Could be anything. And this time, just let that gratitude flood through your entire body like a shower of golden light. You are so lucky. You're as lucky as someone who's won the lottery. Just feel that luck and blessing that all 5 of these things are true at this moment in your life, no matter what else is occurring. Feeling that golden waterfall of gratitude. And then as you're ready, you can slowly come back out. Remembering whatever occurred, knowing that you can go back in and you can tap that anytime. It's always a vibration available. You might want to take a moment and write down those 5 things, and you might find that when you get stuck, any of those things will get you right back to that waterfall, or 5 more may come.